Hey everyone, it's Alex, aka the Stonk Dad. I was pretty much heavily persuaded to start making these real world example videos and how I use trading tools, data sets, and AI in my trading career. And I've done absolutely horrific at explaining these things in the past, even to people that I like come across, even my like family and friends. Oh, what do you do for work? Oh, what do you do for a living? And it's really hard to explain things because I'm just honestly not that great at it. So hopefully, um, I can make videos that are simple, straight to the point, and hopefully these do a little bit better at explaining how I use these tools and how I find success in doing them. And to preface this video, I am no professional whatsoever. I'm not an expert. I'm just a normal world person. So I'm no professional at data sets, logistics, but I do know how this data works and how it can help you in your trading. So I feel like that's the appeal that I give off to people, that I'm just kind of like a normal dude and I kind of know how it works. So hopefully with this video, it's titled How I Supercharge My Trading Success, My Secrets in the Morning. So I'm kind of going to go over what I look for in the morning with data and how I go about kind of just preparing myself for the morning, each morning when the market opens. So let's just head over to the platform here that I use. The platform that I use here is called TradyTix, and it's basically just a platform with a bunch of data on it. You can get really, really confused on here if you don't know any of these words. So I suggest learning the basics before you get a little bit more advanced, like TradyTix is. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of explain it like a normal person would view it, like for the first time, I guess you could say. So in the mornings, the market it opens at 6:30 a.m. for me, so it's pretty early. But to be honest, I wake up like 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes before the market. I don't really wake up any earlier than that because it would be super early. Now I should be getting up earlier so I could like go to the gym or something, because that dad bod baby. But anyways, yeah, I don't wake up much earlier than like the market starts, like 5 minutes maybe, 10 minutes. I don't really look too much into detail or study much before the market. But I do really pay attention to the first 15 minutes of the market, which are crucial, especially for data. And like, it depends on what kind of trader you are too. So in my case, the data set that I uses is just intraday data. They have so much data you can use for swing trades and long-term stuff too. But the data that I'm going to show you are strictly for mostly day trades and intraday levels that you can see on the S&P 500, which is SPY, mostly trade SPY. But I also trade futures too, but I base all of the data off of SPY, and I follow SPY for the most part. So what I do is I get up at 6:30 roundabout. I hop on my computer here. I see a chart kind of like this. In the mornings, right at open, it's going to be blank. So before the data even comes in, there's going to be nothing on the screen. So since today already happened, this was today's flow. So this is so if you're in the website here, you can just go over to, it's kind of hard to see on your screen, but on the left-hand side, they have a drop-down menu. It says Market Dashboard, and then I click Options. This is pretty much the tool that I use all day long, and I just kind of look at it and have it open for live stream on my Discord too. But this shows the overall market. It's called market net flow. So basically what it is, it's the net flow, or it's the average of buys and sells of calls and puts in the entire market, averaged into these two lines. The green line are calls, and the green line are calls, and the red line are puts. So that's obviously the first thing that I look for, and I do not trade first 15 minutes of the market. Even though there's a lot of movement that first 15 minutes, there's not enough data for me to really get an idea of where the market's going until like those first 15 minutes are over. Now, sometimes once in a blue moon, it does happen where there's a large divergence, which means that there's a large difference between calls or puts in the morning, and you can kind of pinpoint it right away, kind of like it did today. So you can see calls pretty much took off right at open, at about like $10 million or so, and then puts stayed below zero. But it continued on for the most part of the day. So that's kind of what I look at for the first 15 minutes. I look to see how much call flow is coming in the net flow or put flow, whichever way it could be going. The put side could be winning and we could be bearish, but in this case, in this example for today, it was extremely bullish. And then for that first 15 minutes, what I also look at is down here. Down here is the 0DTE gamma exposure levels. Now these levels are quite literally magic. So if you pay attention to these, you can really pinpoint support and resistance levels. And I'll give you a real world example too of what happened today with this data. Now, again, in the mornings, I'll probably do another video of like, I'll record myself throughout the whole day, kind of analyzing what data, when the data comes in, and kind of my thought process on it as it comes in. Because I can talk about examples that already happen all day long. But in the mornings, this chart does not look like this. There's going to be no lines. So usually in the mornings, at least for the first 30 minutes to an hour, you'll get these bars and you'll be able to see a little bit better the negative and then the positive gamma exposure levels. And I'll briefly go over what that means in a second here. But right at open, you'll see which levels are the largest. And those are kind of the levels that I pinpoint on my chart, like right away. I look to see what the flow's looking like, and then I also look and see what levels we're looking for throughout the day. So in this case, it's kind of hard to see what exactly happened today because the data moves around so much, especially 0DT gamma exposure levels. These can go from negative to positive all the time, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what they were at the time at open. But what I can tell you is there was a pretty large level up towards like 450 and then 451 or so, which you can see a little level here. But I always look for the largest levels in gamma exposure at open. That's pretty much what I look for right away. So let's pull up the chart. I always pinpoint the levels on gamma exposure levels because those can act as support and resistance levels. You can see my chart's kind of crazy. Oops. Let's get rid of that. I don't know why the code came up on that. So we were pretty much pinpointed at the 448 level today. This was today's price action, by the way. So we were pinpointed at the 448 level for most of the morning. So if we come back over here, so we were above that 448 level. So like right at open, we broke above the 448 level. And that was the first target. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, we just broke above the 448 gamma exposure level. If it's bullish flow, what's our next level? And then we had 449 and 450. Now this example isn't the greatest because most of the time when you see negative levels, those attract price. So it's kind of confusing to some people when they look at this chart and they're like, okay, negative and positive gamma, what does that mean, right? But to just put it into perspective on how you can use it, our negative levels draw price towards it, and then green positive levels repel price, or it also acts as support and resistance levels too. So when there's positive levels, dealers reject that price movement, whichever way it is. So if it's going down into a green level, it will act as support. But if it's going up towards a green level, it will act as resistance. And that's where dealers are most commonly located. And then for negative levels, that's where dealers support the movement. And that's why price draws towards them usually, is because dealers are supporting that, buying shares or selling shares. In this example, it should have if we did break below 448, which we never did really today, dealers would have supported a move back down to 447 since that was the next largest negative. But since we stayed above that 448 level, we definitely saw bullish momentum go up through 449 and 450. It kind of rejected 450 or so. Now, this isn't the greatest example. I'm probably going to do a separate video of a real world example on how I use 0DT gamma exposure levels because I don't want to keep this video too long. But that's kind of like the base knowledge of what I really look for. In the mornings, I look for the largest levels in 0DT gamma exposure, but for the most part, I look at market net flow and see if there's bullish divergence or bearish divergence in the flow. And if it's chopping around and cutting back and forth, I'll show you an example from like last week. There's probably one, at least one or two. That one kind of, but let's see if there was a different one. So this is kind of one where I probably would have stayed out. You can see that flow is really chopping close together. It did kind of pick up a little bit, kind of midday, late morning or so. You can see that calls kind of picked up and then price followed with it. But then it fell back down and we were kind of just chopping around all day. These are the days where I don't really trade much. But days like today are the days that I really take advantage of. But choppy flow days, if it's like this, I kind of just close off my monitor and I just move on with the day. But yeah, those are the things that I look for in the morning. If you guys want a little bit more, like another morning video or something, a little bit more detail, or if you guys want me to make another video explaining a little bit more of what I do in the mornings, I definitely can, because again, I don't know how well I explain that. I'm learning. I'm a learning teacher still. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please leave a like and some comments. Let me know how what your mornings are like trading. I don't know what I'm very intrigued on what everyone's strategies are in the morning, and I'd be very interested to hear what you guys do. Maybe you use some data like I do. Who knows? All right, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one.